This shit ain't for kids, bruh. What up everyone, it's your boy X-Mania87 here, bringing you another Marvel Legends video, and what I have for you today is the Marvel Legends Black Widow Wave Crimson Dynamo Build-A-Figure Series Crimson Dynamo action figure review. Before I get into everything, if you could please drop a like rating on the video, it'll help show your support for my channel and I greatly appreciate it. Now with that said, first I'm gonna hit you with a little bit of that X-Mania87 story time, and then we'll take a closer look at Crimson Dynamo. Gennady Dmitrievich Gavrilov, aka Crimson Dynamo, first appeared in Crimson Dynamo #1 Old Toys and was created by John Jackson Miller and Steve Ellis. His powers consist of blasters, flight, gadgets, power suit, and super strength. Gavrilov is the 8th person to don the Crimson Dynamo mantle and armor by first finding the helmet of the armor, believing it to be some sort of sophisticated gaming system. After tinkering with it, he awakened the armor and unintentionally left a trail of destruction as it made its way towards the helmet. Gavrilov would eventually wear the entire armor and face off against the Russian military. Despite keeping the armor afterwards, after the conclusion of his introductory series, the character fell into comic limbo, thus having other people adopt the armor since. Gavrilov would then return as Crimson Dynamo in the Iron Man Thor miniseries and has been one of the few Crimson Dynamos to not have been killed in battle as of yet. He has only appeared in 16 issues. The character has not appeared in any other media, but for merchandising, this character now has an action figure made in Marvel Legends form as a Build-A-Figure. So taking a closer look at Crimson Dynamo, I gotta say, I really love this head sculpt. You get this nice silver plate as like a face guard. You get the gaps right there in the mouth, and then these like two little bolts. You get a nice bright orange visor, so it pops very nicely in lighting. And then around the head, you get a nice techie-like design, as you can see. So that is really cool on the crown of his helmet. And then the coolest thing is that you can remove his face and see Gravilov underneath. So look at that. So, you can't really see him underneath, but how cool it would have been if they sculpted like a mouthpiece or something. And the head is on a ball joint, so as you can see, you get a double neck kind of movement because you have this piece right here on the bottom, and then obviously the head will rotate and do all that stuff for head articulation. And then on the back you get these I guess they're called power conduits, I guess, but it's nice sculpting right there. And looking at the shoulder pads, this is a really nice design. You get these nice cracks traveling across the shoulder pieces, and you get these like little rivets and bolts or whatever. And this side of the shoulder is clean, the top part, but then you get some more cracks traveling across. And then on the other shoulder pad, same spot where the cracks are, but there's more of it on the top here, leading to these two pipes right there. It's not removable, but yeah, it looks cool. Like this whole shoulder piece is like messed up in terms of like battle damage. So I really like this. And then looking at the back, you get this like back piece right here, the thruster and some vents. And out of the box, this is actually you have to assemble this piece, so you got to attach it to the back, so you get that nice sculpt right there to make up the thruster piece. And yeah, it's cool. You just got to match up the pegs all throughout. Let me tab that back in. One really cool thing about these shoulders is that they shift up and down, so that is really cool. And if you want a more comic accurate look, you can push it down all the way, and you might hear a click or some sort of force pushed in there, and it'll cover the deltoid muscle. So in the comics, this piece normally covers the deltoid muscle. It's good for like vanilla posing, and it stays sturdy. I just don't recommend it for display purposes, just because it'll cover that red star, and that the chest logo for this character, it's the highlight of this character. So man, we get a really great sculpt with it. So as you can see, the star is nice and orange with a little dark orange around the trimming, and then you get these bolts, more bolts. Looking at the lower body, and you get this new sculpt all around. And yeah, looking at the lower back piece right there, you get more of those rivets. I really like this, man. And then looking at the arms right here. Looks good. It's a new sculpt. And you got these lines going across. You get these little rivets, you know, traveling down the arm. And can anyone else see a Colossus Juggernaut being made out of these arms? I could totally see it. And, you know, going down, this is really, really cool. This is one of my favorite features of this figure, is that his forearms has like a you know, like his power source, like a cylindrical shaped canister for his power source, and that's so dope. And you even get a crack there, because in, you know, in the comics he does have like electrical powers. Then looking at the other side of the arm, you don't get any crack sculpted on the cylindrical power sources, but you get some like almost fluid like texture inside, so that looks pretty cool. So I think they did a great job with this. And this is the closed fisted hand on his right. Really wish he had alt hands, you know, two fisted hands and two open hands. Like, I really wish that. Looking at the front of the fingers, or the top I should say, yeah, man, it looks so good. Now looking at the lower body, the rest of these legs are reused from the Ironmonger Build-A-Figure, and the rest of the upper bodies are all new sculpt. So this is the only reuse of the lower body. I mean, this crotch piece is all new too, so the nice sculpting going around there, it's really nice. Yeah, you get the ball joints right there. The typical Mandroid legs, you know how they look, and it's not comic accurate. So this part of the legs is supposed to look like the rest of his body here, so it's definitely not comic accurate, but I know where they gotta save some money. And then right here, like the knee pads, again, not comic accurate. They're so much bigger in the comics. Yeah, the boots came out nice. Nice crimson color. And then you got the shoes. Big boots right there. And on the bottom, you get a nice sculpting, and you get peg holes. So that was Crimson Dynamo in a nutshell. He does not come with any accessories, but in the next segment, let's find some cool accessories that might work for him. To show you some options for accessory possibilities, let's just start off with the typical Marvel Legends lightning effect accessories. So this lightning effect accessory looks so much better on the open hand, and I really hope that Hasbro will give us some new lightning accessory effects for Marvel Legends, like to have some bigger ones than these, you know, small ones that we're regularly getting. So next up, I have the DC Icon Static Shock accessory. So yeah, that doesn't look bad at all. I think I dig it. And one of my favorites to use is this Bandai Lightning Effect stand. And this is something I can make use of, so this is already gauging my interest to take more photos. One last thing I was hoping for is that these Iron Man 80 Years blast off effects would fit in the peg hole. It just doesn't. That would have been really cool. So I really hope that those blast off effects for Iron Man 2020 and War Machine can fit this mold, because that would look so freaking dope. And if you have the Power Rangers Lightning Collection Mighty Morphin Red Ranger, I believe this is the blue lightning effect that came with him, and you can also put that like through his fingers. Oh, I think I found the winner. Yeah, I could definitely rock with this. I like this. This is dope. And out of these options I showed you, please let me know which one you like the most. Now, with that said, let's cover Articulation. Now, for Articulation, Crimson Dynamo's head is on a double jointed neck, so he can look up that far, and he could look that far down. He moves left, right, and it does pivot well, and it rocks around. His arms move that far up, down, and you can kind of get it around because this is pliable, so it's just a little work. And then he's got the shoulder swivel, he's got the bicep swivel, he's got a single jointed elbow, wrist swivel, and a wrist hinge, like he could do the hey girl type of thing. His ab crunch moves that far forward, so I think it's good, and that far back. It swivels, it pivots, and it rocks around real good. His legs move that far apart, his legs move that far up, and that far back, so not bad. His legs rock around, he's got the thigh swivel, double jointed knees, but no heel to the crimson butt. And then you got the ankles that move only up that far. Down, it swivels, and it does pivot. Now to start off comparisons, here he is next to his fellow Russian comrades, Omega Red and Colossus. Here he is next to fellow Russian Black Widow and the Symkarian badass Silver Sablanova. Here he is next to some other notable Iron Man villains, Blizzard and Dread Knight. Here he is next to another Iron Man villain, Ironmonger, and the Mandroid. And as you can see, not even counting the extra kibble, he's a tad taller than both of them. Here he is next to the SDCC exclusive Vintage Hulk and Ulik the Troll. Here he is next to Iron Man and Heroic Age Thor, and I really do hope we get an Iron Man to match this Crimson Dynamo from the comics. And finally, here he is next to his fellow wave mates that you would need in order to complete him as the Baf. Except for Taskmaster, that's the only figure that doesn't come with a Baf piece. Alright everyone, and now to wrap things up, my final rating is a 10 out of 10. Total awesomeness, and I'll be honest, that's my biased opinion because I am a big fan of this version. The sculpt is just so beautiful to me that I am just drawn by it. There is no doubt that this Crimson Dynamo has an amazing sculpt, paint, look, and feel to him. He's very massive, which is what I like to see in a Baf. The newly sculpted upper body is amazing, featuring great highlights of the cracked shoulder pads, those translucent cylindrical tubes on his forearms, and everything else along that diaphragm is pure gold. I don't have a problem with the legs, however, if they gave him new legs as how it looked exactly in the comics, instead of the Ironmonger Mandroid legs, he would have been much taller than this 8-inch height. My only wish is for interchangeable hands, but I can get over it because of how epic the newly sculpted parts came out. It makes me forget about that. Unfortunately, my old Legends Crimson Dynamo figure from the Iron Man series years ago broke and I had to toss that away. Now I can have a Crimson Dynamo back on my villains display shelf again, and I'm very excited for it. I hope I get a classic Crimson Dynamo figure next, as that's the version I want most. But I've always wanted this big hulking Crimson Dynamo as a Marvel Legends figure, so happy to have this in my collection. I'm going to highly recommend this figure to all my fellow collectors who are a fan of all the Legends comic figures. So now I kick it back to you guys. What do you guys think of this Crimson Dynamo Baf? And would you like to see a Crimson Dynamo surprise appearance in the new Black Widow movie? That would be total awesomeness. Please drop a like rating on the video, comment, we'll chat about it. Follow me on Instagram if you haven't already, link is in the description below. Get your Marvel Legends Black Widow figures at Big Bag Toy Store, link is in the description below. Check out xmanny87.com to view my photo gallery, link is in the description below. Share and subscribe if you're new. Enjoy the pics at the end of the video. See you on the next review. Peace, peace.